one of the reasons that the Chiefs felt good post Tyreek Hill, they thought they stole Kadarius Toney, a first-round pick in 2021 from the Giants, who had grown exasperated with Kadarius Toney, and during the 2022 season, traded him to the Chiefs for a third-round pick and a sixth-round pick. And he ultimately caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, had a nice punt return that helped the Chiefs position themselves to win. But last year, Toney was not good. Week 1, multiple drops, 4 or 5 of them. He had that play where he lined up ridiculously offside on the double pass, the lateral across the field from Travis Kelce, the touchdown in the Buffalo game that got called back. And then the game against the Patriots, he had a drop that became an interception, and that was kind of the moment Patrick Mahomes had enough, and we didn't see Toney again the rest of the year. Well, we're never going to see him again with the Chiefs. He was waived. He's out. He hasn't been claimed. He hasn't been signed. I don't know what his future is. But here's GM Brett Veach dipping into the past on whether he has regrets for making the trade that got them Kadarius Toney.
I don't think we're sitting here going for a third straight Super Bowl had we not made that trade. So from that standpoint, do it all over again in a heartbeat. I think it's always disappointing when a player's tenure comes to an end in that situation, meaning you'll have players that the age catches up to them. You'll have players where maybe it's obviously a really serious injury. And then you'll have players that you move on from where the talent just wasn't there. So I think when you have to move on from a player and the full product or the finished product or untapping all that talent wasn't realized, there's a disappointment. And, I think it goes both ways. I'm certainly sure that, there would be things that he would do different in regards to just some of the off-season stuff and taking care of the body. But again, I think it's a process. He's a really smart kid, and I do think he'll figure it out. And again, I think he'll end up making plays for a team down the road here.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. There's always a coach that thinks that he's the guy that can get through to the player who, for whatever reason, wasn't getting the most out of his God-given abilities. And that's always kind of a tragedy when someone has a high degree of ability in whatever field and is using it but not maximizing it. And I think that's the knock on Toney. He didn't get enough out of his God-given skills. Who, if Andy Reid couldn't, Shireen, who is going to get Kadarius Toney to change? Is this going to be a potential Chris Carter, all he does is catch touchdowns, transformation, where this is the wake-up call he needed? I don't know, but I think he's really going to have to humble himself. He's going to have to prove to an organization he loves football. He's shutting out the distractions. He's focused on the game. He's focused on being the best player he can be before he's going to get another opportunity.
Well, and Brett Veach also alluded to the little things, and it almost sounded like, there was the work in the off season and the work in training camp and all those sorts of things. And it is sad. I think back to Johnny Manziel and how great he was in college, but didn't put in the time and didn't put in the work. And you can't, in the NFL, you've got to put in the time, you've got to put in the work. You can't just have the talent and be a great player. And you think about all these players, and he's probably going to be one of these players, Kadarius Toney, that we're going to be talking about it. What if, God, what could have been with Kadarius Toney? And I think he was a first-round draft pick for a reason. He could have been a great receiver in this league. And now the question is, who gives him a chance? Who pulls that out of him? I do think he gets another chance somewhere because he's so talented. Somebody else will give him a chance. But like you said, Mike, if Andy Reid can't get it out of you, I don't know who can. I don't know who can get to him to make him put it all together to where the talent equals the work level and the commitment and the love of football. Sometimes guys just don't love football too. And that's a huge problem. If you don't look, it can be about the money, but you've got to have a true love to football. Felix Jones was one to me. Cowboys drafted him in the first round, and you could just tell he never had that love of football. And if you don't have that, I just don't think you can become a great player.
The first Arkansas player Jerry Jones ever drafted during his tenure with the
Very
Cowboys.
Good.
That was the year that he wanted Darren McFadden and didn't get Darren McFadden, so he settled for Felix Jones instead, but eventually did have Darren McFadden, who did rush for 1,000 yards in that year between Ezekiel Elliott and who was after Ezekiel Elliott? Wait, no, it was before Ezekiel Elliott. It was between
I was
DeMarco
gonna say it
Murray
was
and
before.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
I knew my brain was misfiring there. I knew it as it was happening, but there was nothing I could do to stop it. Kadarius Toney also is the answer to a trivia question. Who was the guy at the center of the first major Urban Meyer screw-up in the NFL? Because it was after the draft in 2021. After round one, he just blurts out, man, I really wish Kadarius Toney had fallen. It's like, dude, you drafted Travis Etienne. Take that guy and don't talk about somebody who's under contract with another team. But that was the Kadarius Toney draft day escapade, courtesy of Urban Meyer. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.